Sometimes I wish we could go back to a time when things weren't so complicated.
Welcome to the complexity of toilet paper, the podcast that dives into the everyday moments where we overthink, hesitate, or just get stuck.
I'm overthinking. I'm overthinking.
Let's hear it for the toilet paper!
Through honest conversations, unexpected insights, and a whole lot of humor, your hosts Phyllis Martin, Mark Pollock, and Al Emmerich are here to help you roll with it and make your life a little less complicated. One conversation at a time.
That's right, dude. The beauty of this is its simplicity.
Speaking of which, it's time to enter the stall. Put the lid down, or not, depending. Get comfortable, and roll with it.
Oh, worry not, dear friend. It's really quite simple.
This is the complexity of toilet paper. The complexity of toilet paper is in your ears. We are here to unpack life's mysteries. And before we unpack the concept of power today, let's toss it around the horn. Use a little bit of baseball reference. I'll tell you why in a minute. But Phyllis Martin, or I guess you've typed in the name Virginia Blue.
I have.
Is it just a random thing?
No, Virginia Blue is my alter ego, and she is bohemian and wise and carefree and says whatever she wants to. Very impactful.
I love it.
So to set the stage, we don't rehearse our opens. We don't know what, like, we type our own names in just like when you do a Zoom or whatever. And so we're early in the game here, and I have no freaking clue what damn name's going to pop up with Phil Smart. Because what were the other names?
Like Cookies McGee.
Cookies McGee.
Puns galore.
Puns galore. Oh, wait a minute. There was Dirk Flushworth or something like that.
No, that was you.
I pulled it. That was me.
Yes.
Mark, what was yours?
I don't remember.
Yeah. All right, so I'll just tell you super quick. I got jazzed up this past weekend in preparation for recording with our guest today who's talking about power because I was back umpiring. I haven't done that in a while, but a huge baseball fan, loved the game, played it, coached it. My kids played at a high level, college as well. And gosh, I saw the beauty of these boys and the joy of the game and the laughter, but I also, thanks to the two of you and this show, was sucked into this vacuum of, oh my gosh, this is far too complex. Coaches were giving these instructions and thoughts and ideas like, you've got to remember, man, keep your brain focused on this and remember, tune out that and don't do this. And it's like, these are 12-year-olds, my God. And I was one of those coaches who thought I was going to cite War and Peace wisdom to these kids, and their brains just became mush. And so can we do a show on the complexity of coaching at some point?
Absolutely.
I would say so.
Mark, you
100%.
You had an idea, Mark, about doing sports. That's going to be a whole. We haven't even unpacked that.
Oh man, the complications that are happening in the sports, from coaching to technology to you name it, it is not the sports that we played as kids. That's for sure.
Phil, what was that big expression we just saw?
I want to tell you, but I can't think of the name of what it is that I want to tell you has gotten complex. So when I think about it in 20 seconds, I'll rip
just
it out.
Jump in.
I'll just jump right in and say it.
Well, speaking of jumping right in.
The transfer portal.
The transfer. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. And I know who to invite. I've got to. Okay. All right. We'll save that one for the future.
You didn't even have to wait 20 seconds on that one.
No, we didn't. And oh my gosh. Yeah, that's probably 7 shows. Anyway, well, today it's about power. And if you're just listening for the first time or not, each of us, Mark, Phil, and I, have all, discussed different topics to bring to the stall. And, each of us will transgress these at some point over time. But Phil chose power for this show. So, Phil, why power, and who's our guest?
So I've always found power to be very interesting. There's all kinds of power, and I've been obviously on a journey to reclaim my own power and to use it for good. And then I've always, like most of us, have been in situations where maybe we have been in situations where somebody has taken our power or we've let somebody take our power. So I was very interested to just bring somebody into the stall that might be willing to have that conversation with us.
Can I just tell you that when you brought forward power, I really didn't put it into this box. I really didn't know where to go with it. And the more that I was reading about our guest and the more that I was actually thinking about how this power impacts all of us and moves through all of us, I'm completely intrigued about this conversation and what our guest is going to talk about and the tips and ways that we can reclaim our power.
Tobi Kinsel is her name. And Phil, what's the connection and why Tobi?
Tobi and I worked together many years ago. We've probably known each other for 20 years. And when I first met her, I just knew she was somebody I needed and wanted to be in my life. And the truth of the matter is I sent out a Facebook post as we were getting ready to launch the podcast. And after I hit post, I started sweating because I was nervous and it wasn't pretty. And about 30 seconds later, she texted and said, "I can't believe you're doing this. I just am getting ready to launch my own business, The Radiant Key. And here's the website." And I immediately went to the website and knew right away she was the person we needed to come on the show and talk about power.
What's her take? Obviously, she's going to give us the lowdown, but from your perspective, as one of the hosts of the show, what's her take and why is she behind the microphone and in the stall with us?
She has managed to bring together, I think, two critical aspects that interplay off of each other. One is leadership and power, and the other is energy and power, and the transfer of energy in and out of people, the things we do, the way we act, the messages that we send, and how overcomplicating or overthinking things actually takes away our power and what that transference of energy really does to us on a physical and emotional and social level.
There's a lot to unpack there, but we're not going to unpack it. Instead, we're going to let Tobi unpack it as we step into the stall. You both ready to do this thing?
I'm ready.
That does not sound encouraging.
I am so beyond ready. I'm ready.
That's a
Let's go.
Virginia Blue ready. I like that. All right.
Virginia Blue was ready like last week.
This is the complexity of toilet paper. Let's stall it up, shall we?
I'm overthinking. I'm overthinking.
Welcome into the stall, Tobi Kinsel. This is the complexity of toilet paper. And did you ever figure a day in your life where you would say, I'm going to be hanging with people talking about toilet paper?
No, and I'm not sure how I feel about the scent in the stall. I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Hey, we just need to give a disclaimer here. No stalls were harmed in the recording of this show, and everybody's scent is their own because we're all over the world. So, Tobi, I hate to throw this down, but man, you need to check yourself.
Your home studio is not in good shape.
I mean, and if that is your bathroom, that is the most ornate bathroom I've ever seen. It's
really
got
nice
books,
bathroom.
awards, and
This
plants.
is my office, and you made me unplug my essential oils that I had to bring the vibe in. So,
Could you imagine going into that would be so funny. You go into a public restroom and you bring in like essential oils. You know?
yeah,
You mean you don't do that?
Yeah.
No, Mark, we don't.
Well,
Traveling with Mark. New things you didn't know needed to know. Well, welcome to it. Phyllis has given us a wonderful background, if you will, but obviously we want to know more from you. But let's just cut to the chase really quickly, because Phyllis dropped this on us. And Mark, I don't think it would be inappropriate to start off a show about power if we first said, what's going on with Tushy?
Yeah. I mean, that really was my first question.
I mean, if we're going to break this
Phil.
show down.
You could say thanks to Virginia Blue, because
I
she's the
know,
one who did it.
right? Yeah, I think you can't talk about Tushy without talking about Virginia Blue.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, Phyllis and I used to work together, and we were sitting at a table talking, and I don't remember what we were talking about, and I just casually mentioned that my alter ego was Tushy, and she goes, "Oh, that's like my alter ego, Virginia Blue." And that's just how it is. So yeah, I will bring in Tushy because it is appropriate that she is here in the stall today with all of her booty fabulousness.
Oh, okay.
Tushy
Wow.
is booty fabulous.
Phyllis, you've given
Yes.
us a number of names so far in our episodes. So I'm hoping that we're just going to have a litany of names for you years down the road.
I'm just never going to stop. But since Tushy was coming, I felt like Virginia Blue, who is really more bohemian than I am, but very sharp and clever and very, very wise, and doesn't take a whole lot of crap.
I can just
anybody.
envision, Tushy, when you're out giving autographs one day, that it's on like a toilet seat or something. And, it's just Tushy.
There you go.
I like it.
One
I like
That's
it.
it.
I mean, I can't think of a
One
better
word.
way to talk about power than talk about taking all of the power through a name. And that's a pretty powerful name.
So, Tobi, first of all, walk us back a little bit. We've got this great sense of your energy, your scope of your rich talent, 30 plus years of leadership, consulting, coaching, and now this new launch. So give us your elevator speech, your elevator pitch about this new company, what power means to you. We've obviously want to unpack the role of issues as it relates to complexity, but walk us back and give us your elevator story.
Well, my new company is called The Radiant Key, and our mission is to empower people to unlock their true potential. And I do this through leadership coaching and energy healing, while two very different modalities. They are combined through a shared mission to guide clients through removing barriers, uncovering strengths, and nurturing growth. And I came to this really through a loss of my own power. I grew up in a home that was emotionally abusive, and I didn't realize at the time it was emotionally abusive. I just thought it was really strict. But as I've gotten older and realized it's not normal to get yelled at if you spill milk or make a mistake, I've realized that it was quite emotionally abusive. And what happened because of that is I became a type A perfectionist, because when you're a perfectionist, then you don't make mistakes or get in trouble. And that resulted in a lot of overthinking through the years and questioning whether or not I could even make a decision, make the right decision. I always questioned myself because I did not grow up sure of myself, which led to what many women do. We find a man who does the same thing as our childhood did. And that ended in divorce. And when that happened, I realized that I had lost myself and any power that I had along the way. And in taking that action, I reclaimed my power. And that was the first time that I started seeking energy healing, because therapy is great and it's a wonderful modality, and I encourage it for everyone. And I've had it throughout the years. But energy healing can get deep within to things that you don't know aren't even there. So that was my first experience with energy healing. And then over the years as a professional growing and observing leaders along the way. I observed many leaders that misused power, who had fears, low self-esteem, different types of things within that would affect the power that they forced on people. So observing leaders that weren't as effective as they could be then motivated me to become curious about leadership. So I obtained a leadership coaching certification because I want to empower leaders to be their best selves and to walk down a journey of self-awareness so they can bring their best selves to work. So that's the story and the background of how I ended here.
You quote, there was a quote that I read in some of your work, power is the rate at which energy is transferred. And that was just mesmerizing to me. I used to work in the field of domestic violence with a shelter in Jacksonville, Florida. And first of all, as a survivor, kudos to you. And you could have done a lot of things with that experience that never led you to this wonderful place. So congratulations on that journey. And thank you for sharing that with us. But walk us through, because the word of power is the rate of which energy is transferred. It sounds like you had a negative transference of power and now you're trying to turn that into a positive transference.
That's right. And, physics is a great thing. And I love that equation and thinking about power in that way. That equation is meant to be about if you push a plate off the table or you're pushing something up a hill, how much power, how much energy does it take to do this? But when you think about it related to the actual energy within our bodies and our emotions and our behaviors and how those are transferred to others, we are human transfers. We can take energy in and we can transfer it out. And when you think about it in that way, it has such a profound impact, not only on those around you, but on yourself. This podcast is about overthinking. So you think about that moment that you're in the overthinking spin and you're spinning with all of these thoughts and can't decide which way to go. That's creating an energy within yourself, the spinning energy, and it just doesn't stop until you stop it. And when you think about leaders, for example, they come into a meeting disheveled, stressed, not paying attention, distracted. That then projects an energy on the people around them. And that transference of energy creates a reaction in that person. So there's incredible power in thinking about how you transfer and absorb energy.
So, Tobi, when you talk about that leader, I can visualize a leader standing in front of a room disheveled, but how will that leader know? Because sometimes when you're in it, you don't see it. How will that leader know that their energy is out of alignment?
That is really the core fundamental of why I come to leadership coaching, and that is self-awareness. Because you're right, Al, not many people are aware of the energy or conscious or even thinking about what they're bringing into a meeting or a one-on-one with a person or a workshop or a presentation. They're stuck within themselves. And again, going back to the overthinking cycle, when you're overthinking, you're stuck within yourself. And self-awareness is really the first step and key in developing one's leadership. You have to be aware of yourself and how you're affecting others. I do that through using the EIQ assessment, the emotional intelligence assessment. It's a great tool to measure how aware you are of yourself and how aware you are of others in that.
Tobi, there's something when we were preparing for this that you really drilled this concept of power down to, and I think it's important because there's so many different ways we could talk about power. But can you share a little bit about what you really said, that how overcomplicating things and how overthinking things actually takes away our power, and what that really means if we can't have an intersection of that behavior.
So many people feel like they are stuck. And I've definitely had those moments in life where I described it as walking through mud. Nothing seemed to flow or go in a way that felt like the momentum was behind me. And often in those moments, I was focused on how the environment around me was affecting me. So I can't do this thing because of this person, or I'm stuck in this job because I have to have a job because I need to pay my mortgage, or I'm in this marriage that I don't want to be in, but I want to stay here because of my child and I can't get out. You often, as you're overthinking, are thinking of all of the reasons why you can't do something. And when you stop that, and there are a lot of ways we can talk about how you stop that in the moment, but when you stop that and you ground yourself and you realize there are many actions I can take in this moment. I actually have power. I can seek help. I can talk to a friend. I can go to therapy. I could go to energy healing. I could say yes or no to this instead of thinking about the gray and all of the options. Sometimes the answer is just yes or no. Should I stay or should I go? You have power in one simple action. For example, I recently am getting ready to leave a full-time job to launch into this business. And I had a huge fear over losing, an income that I relied on. And I was with an intuitive who said, you have to trust and you have to have faith. Even trust and faith can be something that you stand on. They are an action amongst many other actions. So in those moments, it's about remembering what power you do have to take one step or take one action.
Tobi, one of the things that you mentioned that really hit that I'd like to explore for a second is when you said people have lots of options, and one is like therapy or talking to a friend. I've experienced where those were considerations where I felt almost like it was a loss of power because I relied on somebody else. Why does that happen? Where I feel like I've got to, if I talk to Al or Phyllis, if I'm having a bad day or something, I'm losing power by including them versus I'm going to solve this by myself.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question, Mark.
It is a great question. And it's because our culture has taught us that, and I think it's especially true for men, that we have to be strong and we have to be confident and we have to be able to handle all of our things. I think it's true for women too. We have the phrase, pull up your big girl pants and make it happen. And I certainly grew up in that kind of home where there was no excuse. It was, you're going to do this. You will succeed. You will not fail. You can do this all yourself. I grew up with my grandmother was a single mom. My mom was a single mom. And there was a lot of resilience there and a lot of weights and barriers around. You don't need anyone in your life to help you, especially a man, because you can do it yourself. So we're in a culture where weakness, we can think about what happened in our last election. Weakness is not a strength. Power is a strength in our culture and how you exude that power. And so that is the barrier to asking for help and seeking for help. And I think we all, as we're raising children and young people and working with people, have to create psychologically safe places where people can fail, where they can ask for help, where it's okay to say, I don't know. the answer to this and I need help finding the answer, or I don't have the tools. I need tools through therapy.
There's been so much of an illumination on mental health that obviously began, it became more public around COVID, obviously, and then has transferred into more of the psyche of business. Having been somebody who has gone through therapy myself for many, many years, this show is technically therapy. So thank you, all of our listeners. But do you ever find that the concept of power and mental health and power as it relates to how you view it through energy, is that a conflict of concepts, or are they strong aligned parallels?
They're both. Thinking about someone I know who has PTSD, and when they are in a moment of being triggered, they can't control their response. So they're in the medical health profession and have had years of traumatic experiences saving lives, but had a very significant experience of a family member dying as they were taking care of them. And they now suffer from PTSD to the point that if they hear a honk, like just a horn honking, or an ambulance or sirens, it triggers them into a panic response where they feel like they are dying and can't control that response. So in that instance, in those types of circumstances, the person definitely feels powerless and as though they don't have power. And that person is in therapy once a week to address these symptoms of PTSD and is doing active things to work on it. So that is the taking back of the power of, I'm going to take this action and this step to work on this thing that is paralyzing me. And there are certainly many circumstances that people don't have power in things. I think, we could talk about poverty and all kinds of situations that people really are challenged by. But I think that they're both, Dave.
I don't know who Dave is, but that's okay.
I could be Dave if you want.
I can
It's
definitely
fine.
be Dave, since I can be 6 names.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are with our guest. Her name is Bob, and Bob is talking about weakness and. Are you? This is great because even though this is
Tushy, actually,
I knew something. I knew Tishy
made that mistake. We'll blame her for that.
Good.
I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
Strange things happen in the bathroom.
All right, Phil, we'll return it to a modicum of order.
Could we
Go
please?
ahead, it's all yours.
You know how I need that in my life. So, Tobi, this is the complexity of toilet paper. And can you, for our listeners and for us too, define power in terms of complexity? Where's the toggle there, and how do those two work together from your perspective?
Power is incredibly complex. When you think about what we were just talking about in terms of power is the rate at which energy is transferred. Energy is emotions. Emotions are complex. There's an incredible amount of kinds of power. There's individual power that someone has, the agency that they have to make a change, which is something that we've talked at length about in this podcast. There's coercive power, using power to manipulate people. There's experiential power, having a certain level of experience that you have or expertise that you bring that automatically gives you power. There's reverent power, where the Pope is a good example of that. Just the person's in a position of great reverence and they have power. And within all of those, there's an incredible amount of complexity because the rate at which that power is used or not used, the rate at which it vibrates off of people, where you bring it in or take it out, is very complex in the way that that happens. Another example would be myself growing up in a home. I have a brother and a sister. Their response to the environment that we grew up in was very different than mine because of the complexity within us, because of our emotional makeup, our age, our gender, all those types of things. So even the way that an individual experiences power in the same, two individuals in the same situation can experience it very differently.
And Tobi, you're actually, just to be clear, you're talking about not just the dynamic of the emotion, of course, but actually the physical transference and DNA of electric power, right?
That's right.
So they talk about manifestation, that is an energy. This is the same thing, right?
That's correct. There's a guy, his name is Dr. David Hawkins, and he's written two really great books. One is Letting Go, which would be really great for overthinkers because it's about surrendering and letting go of things. But the other is The Map of Consciousness, and he's actually mapped out and done scientific research on the vibrations of different emotions. So fear, hate, pride, anger, those all have very low vibrations. So I'm sure you've been around people where they have those negative emotions and you feel how heavy it is. It's a very low vibration. Yeah. But when you're around someone with great joy, great love, great awareness, great courage, those emotions actually scientifically have a higher vibrational level. So you feel better when not only do you have those within yourself, but when you feel it around other people.
I thought you were describing me at the end of that, like all that great vibration.
I was going to say, you, Phyllis, and I, when we get together, it's amazing we're not like shaking.
I know.
It's amazing we don't implode.
Yeah, all the energy, the positive energy, the vibration. We cause earthquakes. We do. It's weird.
There'll be no imploding or exploding except in the stall. So, speaking of the stall, Tobi,
and the energy that is transferred in the stall.
Oh.
Yes. Let us not forget that.
There is a lot of energy transfer in there.
Tobi, as you well know from Phyllis, Mark and I, we're all overthinkers, and we recognize that the depth of the conversations for our listeners and even for us can be at times intense. So that's why we alleviate the intensity only of the topic to invite you to step into the stall again with us for what we call, ladies and gentlemen, the roll-up.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, the roll-up is your opportunity to be the inquisitor of the greatest questions ever known to mankind. The things that will solve the problems that haven't been solved yet, and the questions that haven't been asked, so that Phyllis can sleep well at night knowing all will be well with the world. It's all about Phyllis.
I love it when it's that way.
Or Virginia Blue.
Or Virginia Blue. Yes.
Cookies McGee or whatever the other one was.
Right.
Yeah.
Puns galore was the other one, Mark. That you can't think
Puns
of.
galore, yeah.
I cannot wait for us to have promotional store products and just have a whole section dedicated to Phyllis.
I expect Puns galore will be a sellout, but go ahead.
Hell yeah. All right. So, Tobi, we're going to toss it to your gal, Phyllis, to start us off with this speed round. I hope you haven't prepared because there's no test. Go ahead, Phyllis.
There's no test, and the speed round will begin with your favorite. What is your favorite potty time activity?
It was a long time ago reading People magazine, but I don't get that anymore. So now it's scrolling through my phone.
What do you scroll?
Oh, just
news,
the socials.
or do you only do light stuff?
Just the socials. Yeah. Not as much as I used to, though. You know, I'm single and in my house alone often, so I don't have to hide in the bathroom. So I don't actually. I don't actually.
There's actually a lot to unpack there.
Right. I actually don't have to spend a lot of time in the bathroom alone by myself to get away. So I don't spend a ton of time.
All right, then it's time for the next question.
Moving on.
Hold on.
No, this is fast. We got.
you have
We
to
can't
go. It's
overthink
speed
it.
round.
We can't.
You can't.
It's speed
Yeah.
round. We can't
No.
unpack that. What is your favorite nickname for the bathroom?
Oh, I guess the potty.
It's not
The
very
potty?
The
original.
potty.
Phyllis.
Sorry.
That's so judgy of you.
I know, and it's
know.
very unlike me.
Virginia Blue, you're in timeout. We're putting you in the stall next to us. All right. Here you go. This is the time for the what we call the lid of truth. You ready? Do you text from the toilet? And if so, do you actually ever let people know that you've texted them from the toilet?
I just said I was single, but I do have a boyfriend. So he's probably not going to like that. He tends to video call me when I'm in the bathroom on accident a lot. So I just answer it. So that happens a lot to me.
The complications, the complications just compile right here in the potty.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, but no, if I'm texting, I'm not going to tell someone I'm in the bathroom.
All right, Phyllis, you get to ask the last question.
I'm gonna do a
Since yeah.
switcheroo so you can go out on a high note. If there was one song that if it got stuck in your head, you would never get tired of hearing it, what would that be?
Well, you're going to really love this, Virginia Blue.
I can't
wait. Copacabana by Barry Manilow.
Yes, I knew it.
It has drama and a salsa beat and
Music
a
and passion.
story, music and passion. Yes. A bar, a crowded room. Lola. I mean,
If you're just joining us for the very first time, just to set the stage, Phil is a huge Barry Manilow fan.
Undoubtedly.
Listens constantly on the toilet.
Yes.
Anywhere,
yes.
really.
And you know what, Barry, if you're listening, if you could send Phyllis a note signed or a picture of a toilet, autographed by you, that would be great.
Yeah, signed toilet paper. Just send it to her.
Just in the off chance that he hears this, because somebody could get it to him. Can we just go
I'll
with
send it to
this?
him.
That I'm going to be in Vegas to see him. I believe it's September 18th, and my life's dream, I'm not kidding and not making it up, is to get to come up on stage and sing with him. So I'm putting it out there. Anybody can
All
make
right.
that happen.
We could probably find somebody who knows
that
him.
would be it for me. I'm done.
I'm sure we could figure something like that out. We'll get it figured out.
Okay.
We'll have at least 3 listeners by then, so that'll be great.
We already have more than that.
I know. All right.
Terrible.
Well, that is thank you so much, Tobi, for joining us for the roll up. You don't seem to be scarred mentally or physically.
only that I messed up your names, and I will be overthinking
it's
that
Don't.
all night,
No,
all week, completely
I am
embarrassed.
texting your ass nonstop, hoping I catch you in the bathroom.
Yeah. Listen, Tushy.
Yeah.
My name's Mark.
All right, let's bring it back home here to all kidding aside, this whole riveting topic comes with so much more on the bone to talk about. But Mark, we're going to save you for the end because you always wrap it so well. So I'll lead it, and then Phil, maybe you can jump in, and then. But let's start, Tobi. You talked about all these things that people can do in the moment. What are, say, your top 5, recommendations and tips? Because we want to be able to compile these and eventually build them into some sort of a book or something for people. But what are your top 5 tips for people who are in the moment they feel that power draining from them? What can they do?
Put your hand in ice. I know that sounds really weird, but when you are in the middle of overthinking or even anxiety, changing your body temperature or putting yourself in a different stimulus automatically stops your brain in that spiral. So whether that's putting your head in a freezer, taking an ice cube or, like an ice pad and just putting it on your face, stops that response from happening. 2 is grounding. Grounding is such a beautiful thing, and grounding can be different things to different people. So there's a lot written right now about grounding on Earth. The Earth has energy and vibration. So walking in the grass without your shoes on, laying in the grass, there are grounding sheets. That's one form. But grounding could also be meditation. It could be yoga. It could be going for a walk. It's different for different people. So whatever brings you a moment of quiet and peace to ground is very valuable. Movement is another one. Moving your body. There's something in Qigong called shaking the tree, and it literally is just bouncing up and down. But bouncing up and down, again, changes the vibration. Even if you're in the middle of overthinking, jumping up and down and shaking, it gets your energy, your blood flowing. It gets your lymphatic system flowing. It can really change and position you to pause in that moment. I think 4 would be journaling. Writing is really powerful for people. Writing down, even if you're in the moment of overthinking, what are the pros and the cons in the situation? Because often when you get it out of your head and you see it on paper, it's really clear. Oh yeah, it's this. And then the last one is trust your intuition. One of the things that overthinking does is it blocks what you feel in your gut. And we all have the power of intuition. We all have a sense within us, a knowing of what is best for us or what we need to do or what the action is. Often we ignore that because we overthink it. And we get in our mind and we analyze things and we can talk ourselves in and out of something. So 5 for me would be trusting your gut and trusting your intuition.
I'm hoping, first of all, that's just incredibly powerful. But I would be negligent if I didn't bring to the show that I hope I'm never overthinking and having a moment while I'm actually in the restroom, because shaking the tree would be a horrible experience.
Oh my God. No
Just
getting
really
away from it. Just
did you just say really to me, Mark?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I did.
We made an agreement that no matter how deep and intellectual we're going to go, that we can go dive into the toilet whenever we want.
I'm probably just jealous I didn't think of it. That's all.
My second regret is saying shake the tree.
Out of all the regrets in your life, that's it. That's great.
No, just on
Do you
this
know how hard
podcast.
it was to listen to you going, oh my God, she is throwing down freaking lightning bolts of genius here, but I can't get shaking the tree out of my head.
There we
All
go.
right.
There it is.
Okay.
I'm just
There
throwing
it is.
softballs for you. That's it. Just throwing you
We're going to
some
have you
softballs.
on the show a lot. Anyway, Phyllis, Martin.
Yeah. So, Toby, thank you for coming on and for what you're doing, because I think it's innately who you are as a human being. But I would, I just want to restate a couple of things. And one is this theme of self-awareness that is coming through many of our shows and some of the things we're hearing back from our listeners. And when we think about how overcomplicating or overthinking takes our power away from us, I don't know that there's anything more powerful than taking that first step of becoming self-aware. I'm not sure anything else really can happen, and that can be small self-aware or big self-aware. But from my perspective, that is the journey. And through that self-awareness, even as we think about little things we can do to hold on to our power, then things become simpler and easier. That path presents itself and becomes very visible to us, and we can take it and run with it. So little baby steps can turn into walking, can turn into running, and then who knows what. And Mark, I want to use this example because you shared it earlier about, overthinking email, which I also do. And this is really something I do now, which is if I'm writing an email and it's not, it feels a certain particular way, I really do start to, I literally pull back and say, this is not the energy I want going into this email, because it's going to land. I just am certain that energy is going to land on the recipient. And that's a small way, but a big way for me to say, I've got power in how I'm going to respond to this, or what I'm going to ask, or what is going out there. And that's a behavioral change, which may be the other thing I heard you say, which is claiming power, getting power, finding power, not letting it drain away. It requires us to make changes in how we do, and you can fill in the blank. So I'm so excited about this work that you're doing. That's this combination of leadership training, because heaven knows leaders are not perfect people. They come to it for a certain reason. They do have power. We all have power, and how we choose to use that or live in that or share that, to me, is directly tied to the exchange of energy coming and going. So thank you.
Beautifully said.
Marco.
So you've given us a gift, Tushy.
You just had to.
I had
didn't you?
to.
It felt so good too.
So we should end the show right there.
We should stop.
And I wrote some stuff down. You gave us a gift, and what I wanted to do with the gift that you gave us is kind of give back to you what I've heard in kind of the voices in my head. And I hope you see it as a gift back, that what you've provided has been really powerful and moving for me, but I know for a lot of people it will be. And so as we kind of close today's conversation, you've brought to us, Tobi, kind of a simple truth. And that simple truth is that power is not something that you have to earn. And you shared that from your early stages in life. It's something that you already carry with you. It's in the way that you speak to yourself. It's in the energy that you bring to a room. It's in the emails, like Phyllis said. It's in the choices that you make when no one's watching. You have this power, and overthinking and fear and self-doubt cloud that. They make it almost impossible for us to move forward. And what I also realized from what you shared today is that real power isn't loud. It isn't strength. It isn't that type of power. It's not dominating power. You shared that story so eloquently in the beginning of this. It doesn't demand. It's grounded. It's intentional. It's quiet. It's courageous. And I'm just really thankful for the tips that you've provided me and for our listeners, and for your vulnerability and your stories to help us understand that real power is within us, and that we have the ability to share that positive power with others, or that negative power. And so thank you, Tobi.
Thank you. It's been an honor to be here.
Her business is called The Radiant Key. Where can we find you? Where can the world find you, Tobi?
My website is theradiantkey.com, so I can be found there. On Instagram, I'm _Radiant Key. And my email is tobi@theradiantkey.com. TOBI, Tobi with an I. It's also Tushy with an I. But
I've been spelling it wrong my whole life.
I think somebody should count how many times the word tushy came in. But I love the fact that you did it with an I, tushy with an I. Hey, real quick, how did you come up with the Radiant Key?
I wanted something that had my initials in it. So TRK are my initials. And I simply put into ChatGPT words that begin with T, words that begin with R, words that begin with K, and got all of these words back and the radiant key were amongst the words. So I put them together. At first, it sounded a little froofy and woo-woo and maybe a little too light for leadership coaching because I was trying to think of something that hit both leadership coaching and energy healing. But the more I thought about it, the more it resonated with me about the power of unlocking potential and that each of us holds the radiant key. The radiant key isn't me.
That's awesome.
It's you. You are the radiant key, and you
love
hold the keys to unlock the potential in your life. I'm just here to help be a guide through the process.
Beautiful.
Can we close on a better note than that?
No,
We're
that
done.
is a mic drop. Thank you are a joy. Thank you so much, Tobi. What a pleasure. Thank you for joining us in the stall. Mark, Phyllis, and I will be right back. Hey there, we sure do hope you're enjoying the show. And if you are, please tell your friends, like it, share it, put it all over the place because we're not just doing a podcast here. We're trying to start a movement. Okay, that was probably a bad pun. Intended, by the way. But seriously, the complexity of toilet paper is about creating conversations in places where things just don't need to be that complicated. It's about finding the simplicity in life. And if we work together, you know what? We think we can actually achieve it. So follow us on Facebook, share the show, give us your comments, and come back and join us in the stall. Holy schnikers, what a freaking home run, awesome person, new insight. Phyllis Martin, you are the bomb diggity dog.
Why, thank you, kind sir.
So what is, you've known this woman for quite some time.
Yeah.
You obviously shared a litany of insight, but just quick overview, highlight, elevator pitch. What's your big takeaway that you're going to walk away with and share?
I think my big takeaway, which I'm very excited about because I felt this way for a long time, is that there are some critical keys on this path, this journey that we're all on. I mentioned it earlier, self-awareness is one of them, but I'm thrilled to see more and more people connecting this notion of energy and power and complexity. And and complications and overthinking. And it is culturally different than I think what we are all trained or raised to do. But there's a certain grounding in illuminating this type of information, thinking about the world in this way, taking a minute to stop and reflect, which I think is one of the fastest ways, and albeit sometimes very painful, to get to simplicity.
The pain, yeah. Mark?
So I loved this conversation, and one of the actionable items for me, my biggest takeaway is when I overthink, I drain my energy. Now that seems pretty obvious, right? But what I didn't relate it to is the power that is transferred to someone else when I work from that state. So as I'm overthinking an email, I'm not making it better. I'm actually transferring negative power. When I overthink a conversation or overthink anything, because I think I'm making it better, I'm actually making it worse. And so her techniques today really has me thinking about, and not overthinking, but about what I do in a day and what I need to do to make sure that I am giving the best of myself to others.
Ooh, man, that is touching some chords. So beautiful. I hearken back to my days at Hubbard House Domestic Violence Shelter, and when we co-founded with some amazing people, Men Against Violence Against Women. And we had to introduce the concept of power and control to so many men in that space. And when the men would be asked, well, what if it was your daughter, or what if it was your son, a survivor? It changed everything. And I remember once a moment where somebody who was working with us in shelter said, "Did you feel that?" And I was like, "Feel what?" I said, I swear, because we had a gentleman who had realized that he was a survivor himself, and he was now being verbally and emotionally abusive to his own son. And he's like, you felt that shift of energy. And I didn't even think about it back then, but in this moment right now, I could come to tears thinking about that. It was on a softball field during one of our fundraising events, and this gentleman came to us and shared this moment of reflection. And I never thought about this transference of energy from a physical sense. And sometimes I can now realize, I can think about what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling it. And I never gave the credence to the physical nature of power. So, wow, that's my big takeaway. Okay. Well, I hope you all have an amazing week.
You as well. Thank you.
Phyllis, any two-ply words of advice? You're doing great with social media, by the way. Like, you're killing it. I'm proud of you.
I'm out there.
Way not to overthink it.
Way not to overthink it. Well, fear is a power drainer.
I wouldn't exactly call it overthinking it.
She's overthinking it, I know.
All right. I guess we got to wrap this puppy. Huh? We are truly, truly honored to be a part of your life, a part of what's happening in your world. We hope this brought some simplicity between your ears and in your heart as well. Share the show with others. Push it out through whatever channels. You can even write a letter about it. That would be great. And, of course, follow us on social. Facebook's the best place, The Complexity of Toilet Paper. You can also find us on your favorite podcast platforms, which, if you're listening to this, you've probably already figured that out. And, of course, you can also search for us on Buzzsprout, which is currently where more information about us lies. More shows coming down the road as we step into the stall, flush through life, and hopefully make your life a little simpler, one conversation at a time.
Did you say toilet paper?
Everything complicated. One big medieval mess.
I'm overthinking. I'm overthinking.
This is The Complexity of Toilet Paper.